Hi, my name is Elisabeth Hansen, or Elisabeth Hansen, as we say in Norwegian, and I am from Norway. I am from a town called Nøtterøy, which is about an hour and a half south of Oslo, the capital.
So when did you come to America?
I came to America when I was 10, so 9 years ago.
Okay. What were your first impressions?
I thought that it was really big, first of all, and just like a lot more people and like things than what I was used to. I moved to Seattle, so that was a big change going from countryside to city. And I thought that the people were really, really outgoing and talkative and just really friendly compared to Norwegians.
So what's like the biggest difference like between the people, would you say?
That would probably be it. We have a little analogy, me and my family, that Americans are like peaches and Norwegians are like coconuts. So Americans, it's really easy to become like acquaintances with someone because they're so soft on the outside, but then it's really hard to really get to know them, like the pit of the peach. And then Norwegians are really hard to get to know at first. So it's like the coconut exterior, but then once you break through that, they're really nice and soft and sweet, like coconuts.
Okay, so why did your family move?
We moved because of my dad's job. He got the opportunity, so we figured why not.
Okay, and do you still go back there like to visit?
Yeah, we go back at least once every year.
Do you have a lot of family there?
Yeah, all my family.
Oh, okay.
Besides my parents, of course.
Yeah. So, how much English did you speak when you got to America?
I spoke a decent amount. Like, I could understand most of what people said, but I was really self-conscious about speaking it myself. So, like, for the first month especially, I didn't really say very much.
So like how would you compare your school in Norway to your school here, like when you first moved? What are the major differences?
Well, one major difference is that in Norway there's a lot of emphasis on like being outside and like there's always a lot of recess time and just like the kids kind of like run wild. But in America it's a lot stricter and very short recesses and not like that much emphasis on being outdoors and stuff like that. So that was a big difference.
And like like what about schedule, like in terms of like curriculum, what classes were you taking?
Pretty much the same as here, plus like English, like a foreign language. Here they don't really teach foreign languages until like middle school usually. And in Norway we start learning English sometimes as young as in preschool.
Oh, okay.
So
So you had like a fair amount of English
yeah.
experience. So what would you say like just describe for me like the major differences in culture, like for instance religion. What's religion like there?
Well, Norwegians are sort of born into the Church of Norway, and they don't really go to church very often. They're like members of the church, but they very rarely actually go to church. Usually just like a couple times a year for Christmas and stuff. I mean, some people go more, but most people don't go very often. And then, like, one of the big things in the religion is they have a confirmation around, like, the coming of age time. And so they get a lot of like money and like celebration and stuff like that. And but other than that, religion, like everyone's a part of it, but they don't really like practice it that often. Unlike here, and also in Norway, there's like not really any variation, or like there's not very many different kinds of religion. Everyone's pretty much just like part of the Church of Norway, and that's it.
Yeah, so it's really different than here.
Yeah, here there's like so many different religions, and yeah.
So, what about political participation? What's that like in Norway?
Well, I feel like the youth are a lot more informed about the politics that are going on both in Norway and worldwide, and they like have more interest and are just like required to know more about it and like talk about it more in their daily lives than here, especially when they're like high school aged and younger than that. I feel like they just have a greater knowledge of what's going on in the political world than Americans.
So, when you came here, were you like really adamant about
Well, I mean, I was only 10, so I wasn't, like, that into politics at all, but, like, I still felt like I knew more about it than my peers, and, like, as I grew older, I felt like I had more of an interest in it than my American friends.
Um, okay, so what's, like, could you comment on work at all? Like, how, just like the system here and how it is there?
Well, one big difference is, like, America are workaholics, like, to be honest. And in Norway, I feel like there's a lot more, like, it's a lot more important to have paid vacation time, and, like, most people are given around, like, 6 weeks of vacation per year, and here it's, like, what, like, 2 weeks or so? And I feel like in America, even though they're given the, like, 2 weeks, a lot of people feel the pressure to not even take that because there's such a, like, tough workload. And in Norway, it's the opposite. It's, like, weird if you don't take your vacation. Like, why wouldn't you want to take vacation, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one big difference. And also, like, maternity leave is a lot longer in Norway and a lot more, like, a lot better, I guess.
Okay.
And here I feel like people are just, like, pressured to get back into their, like, work as soon as possible.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So, what would you say that you were, like, surprised by in American culture? Like, what were your main misconceptions or things that just sort of were contradictory to what you already thought?
Well, it sounds kind of silly, but I was surprised when I came here and, like, everyone wasn't fat and, like, overweight, and people didn't, like, eat 3 meals a day at McDonald's, and that there were actually, like, plenty of healthy, skinny people. Because in Norway we get this, like, really weird image of Americans that they're, like, all overweight and they just eat fast food and they, like, aren't really
Lazy.
that smart, and, yeah, like, lazy, not really that smart, don't really know that much about the world, so I was happy to find that most of those are pretty much false.
Yeah, me too.
There's other food out there and not just fast food.
Yeah, what kind of food do you eat in Norway, or usually?
Well, one thing that's really common is potatoes, especially boiled potatoes, for every meal. That's, like, totally typical in Norway.
Yeah.
And just a lot of sort of, like, bland food, lots of bread. It's really common to have open-faced sandwiches for breakfast and lunch every day.
Wow.
Which is, kind of boring in my opinion.
Yeah.
And, yeah, just...
Are there any, like, special desserts, like, that are, like, native to your country?
Desserts, not so much. Just, like, I don't know, regular desserts.
Okay. Let's see. So, what, like, you go back pretty much every year, you said. So, what would you say, like, kids like to do there? Like, what are the main differences between, like, teen culture?
Well, one big difference is the drinking age, which is 18 in Norway. So it's common after teenagers to turn 18 to go clubbing a lot and, like, go out dancing and drinking and stuff like that. And just, like, alcohol in general is not as big of a deal there. Like, they don't have the, like, get drunk every weekend, like, get totally wasted mindset like Americans do, which I feel comes from having the higher drinking age. Like, because it's higher and it's, like, bad to, like, drink, then they want to go, like, crazy over it, where in Norway it's not that big of a deal. And, like, I would drink with my parents, not when I was 10, obviously, but, like, when I got older. And it's just, like, not that big of a deal, so Norwegians grow up, like, knowing how to drink and not going overboard on it.
Oh, okay.
And, like, another thing about Norwegians and drinking is, like, although I think they're better at drinking, they also, like, can use it as a device to, like, be more outgoing because they're generally a lot colder. So, like, it's common in Norway to, like, make friends with someone at a party when you're both drunk and then see them the next day when you're sober and just, like, not say anything at all, like, pretend it didn't happen. And, like, I feel like in America, if you make friends with someone when you're drunk, then you see them the next day and you're, like, still friends.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference.
Okay, well, thank you so much for talking with me, and, yeah.
You're welcome, or varsågod.
Okay, bye.